Hi, this video is going to show you how you import herbs into your dispensary. So this is probably the longest thing that you have to do, and it's still not going to be very long. We're going to do it really quickly. So you're going to get to a file like this if you follow the instructions in the Getting Started section. So right now we've opened up the Chinese herbs list, but we have the Western herbs and Ayurvedic herbs as well. And essentially you have to fill out this form, and we've done it mostly for you. So you can see we have all the herb names already. So that's the hardest part. So we have the English name, the Pinyin name, and the Latin name. And when you upload this file, it's going to upload anything in this file, so all of these herbs. If you don't want some of these herbs in your dispensary, just delete them from this file and they won't be uploaded. On the flip side, if there are herbs missing from this file, then you have to add them to the file. So we'll start off by going through each of the columns, and most of the columns are not mandatory. So don't get overwhelmed. You're not going to have to fill out all of this information here. You're just going to have to change a couple of things and then upload it. And it's really as easy as that. So column A, we have our SKU number. This is your number. You can make this any number that you want, but you have to have something for the SKU. So it's representing C01, so Chinese Herb 01, but you can change it to whatever you want. You can make it the same SKU number as the supplier. You can also come back to this later. So if you don't know, you can just skip it and use what we have in this file, and you can update the SKU number at any time. So then we have our herb names. So English, Pinyin, Latin. You don't need all of them. So you only need one. We've given you all of them, which is really handy. So you can just fill it out how you want. And again, you can delete herbs, you can add herbs to this file. And if you need to add a herb, just go to the bottom and add it. Right? Enter a SKU, add the herb name, and you're on your way. We also have some other herb names, the Chinese name, the Japanese name, and the Korean name. Okay. If you want, you can enter the properties for the herbs, the channels that it enters, the daily dose high, the daily dose low, any cautions or contraindications, any actions. If you want to list the pinyin with tones, you can do that as well, and you can also specify if the herb is toxic or not. So the next mandatory field is status. So published means that it's going to be live in your dispensary. That means practitioners, whether it's yourself or other practitioners, will be able to use that herb in a custom formula. You can also set the herb to draft. Okay? Draft means you want it uploaded into your dispensary, but you don't necessarily want to make it live for a practitioner to use. And there's a couple of reasons to do that. We're not going to go through that now. But yeah, if you want it live, put it on publish. If you don't want it live, put it on draft. So each of the herbs needs to have at least one, either publish or draft. If you want to add a brand name to your herbs, you can do that as well here. For your initial import, if you enter a brand name, then the brand will automatically be created for you. And that goes the same with supplier as well. So right here I have some default text, enter your supplier, but maybe this herb is from Treasures of the East, and you could copy that down and make them all Treasures of the East. You can enter a description. So supplier is not mandatory. You can enter a description for the herb. It's not mandatory. Don't worry about quantity, just leave it blank for now. And then we have the reorder level. So again, this is not mandatory and you can always come back to it, but the reorder level will alert you if the herb stock level goes below this amount. So it's basically telling you that you need to reorder the herb. So the system's always monitoring how much you have of everything, and it will show up in a report, or it will be highlighted in red if you need to order that herb and the herb stock level, the inventory stock level has gone below this amount. So each herb may be different because Some herbs you're probably going to go through really quickly and some maybe much slower. So if you always need, say, 500 grams on hand then of this herb, then you want to set that to, 400 or 500 or whatever it is. And then when it goes below 400 in this case, it's excuse me, it's going to alert you, and then you'll easily know to order more. You can enter a category for the herb and then the herb type. So depending on the type of herbs that you dispense, the system supports raw, granule, tincture, or concentrate. So if I wanted to make these granules, I could copy and paste down, and then I am entering all these herbs in granules. Now, if I have the same herbs in raw, I have to duplicate the row. So you may have all of these in raw. You'd have to duplicate all of this information and paste it, and then in herb type, just write raw. So for each herb, depending on the herb type, so you may have the herb in 4 herb types, or 3 herb types. You need that herb needs to be in this file 3 times in that case. If it's a tincture or a concentrate, you can enter the alcohol percentage, and you're going to want to enter it like 55 or 30. You don't need to add the percentage sign, just put the actual number. This is not mandatory. So the status is mandatory, the herb type is mandatory. We have to know those 2 things. And then the selling price is mandatory as well. So the way the pricing works in the system is by either gram, milliliter, or ounce. So a granule is in grams. So in this case, I would be charging 10 cents a gram. And I could switch that. I could do 8 cents a gram. Right? You may not know what you're going to charge right initially, but your objective is to get these herbs into the system, and you can always come back and change this file, or in the admin we have like a master pricing page, and you can go to that master pricing page and update the prices very easily. The next mandatory column is the cost price. Again, you're probably not going to know what your cost is, but it's really handy to go through it and figure out what you're being charged. So this cost price, again, it's per gram, per milliliter, per ounce. So it's not what you're paying for a bottle of the granule, it's how much you're paying for the gram. And in the case of granules, they're generally sold in 100-gram bottles, so you'd basically be taking the price of the bottle and dividing it by 100. And if you don't know the cost price, you can enter a cent, you can enter anything, just make sure there's a price in there, and then you'll find it much easier to upload your information. For granules and tinctures and even concentrates, there may be a ratio. So if it's like 1 to 5 ratio, just enter 5. If it's a 1 to 10 ratio, enter 10. So you don't have to put, 1 to 5, because you'll see it kind of screws it up a little bit. So just put the actual number, 1 to something. And then the rest of the fields are a little bit more advanced. Just for your information, the system allows you to charge different prices based on how much of the herb is in the formula. So again, not mandatory. There's different ranges. So you have range 1, range 2. There's 5 ranges. You don't have to use all 5 ranges. So it could be like from 0 to 5 grams is range 1, and then 5.1 to say 25 is range 2, and then 25.1 to 50 is range 3, and then you can set a particular price for each of those ranges. So if it's 8 cents, then maybe I want it to be 9 cents if they're buying just a little bit. Oh, wrong column. And then if they're buying a little bit more, maybe 7 cents. And if they're buying a lot more, maybe 6 cents. And this way you can offer discounts based on the amount that is ordered. And let's turn this one back on to publish. Okay. And then the last field is, for the really advanced, the image. If you want to upload an image of the herb, you can enter a URL or website location where that image is located. If the image is on your computer, then you have to do it inside the admin. In the herb record, you can upload a picture of that herb. And don't worry about herb import ID. You'll see what that is in another video. So let's pretend everything is good. So we can save as. Let's create a new folder. New folder. So Chinese herb list. And make sure the file is saved as CSV. So when you download it from us, it's already in CSV, but just give that a double check. Okay, let's get rid of that. And then we can go back to our dispensary. So to import your herbs, you're going to go to Data, Import, Import New Data, because this is brand new data, and then herbs. And then we're going to choose the file, and we're going to go to New Folder, Chinese Herbs List. So you just find it wherever you saved it on your computer. And we're going to go to Review. So the system is going to review the data. So hopefully we did everything right. You can give it a second, because it's going through all the columns and rows. There we go. So if you see Save Herbs here on the bottom, you've done everything correct. If you see any of these colors, then something is not correct. So you have to make sure you keep the columns in the same order. So everything is correct, everything looks good. You can scroll here and see, and making sure everything is lining up. And you can see for, I think it's probably yeah. We can take a look at that when we get in. And we can save the herbs. And then just give it a second, because it's uploading a lot of data. And perfect, all the herbs were uploaded successfully. To check on it, we can go to Catalog, Single Herbs, and we can see all of our herbs. Okay, and you can filter by supplier, by status, by herb type. So we only have granules, and we can go and check out yeah, and we can see our price slabs. So there's our price tiers. So if they order a certain amount, okay, and we didn't assign a category to it, and our selling price was 8 cents by default. So essentially, if it doesn't land, if someone orders 51 grams, it's going to charge the selling price of 8 cents. And that is how you upload herbs. If you have any problems, please, reach out to us. We can take a look at your file. We can help you out. We want to make sure that it's as easy as possible.